Hello. All right. Good morning, man. So I was watching J Dog's interview with the band Fluids. All right. So I don't really care about Fluids. They're another band. They're like teenagers. People in their 20s kind of go nuts over them. If you're not familiar, think of it like this: like if Sanguisugabog or the White Snake of Carcass, Mortician, and ripoff bands, then Fluids might be the Kingdom Come of that little meme-based corner of the world. They're the type of band that would play Mass Destruction Fest at like 4 in the afternoon, and everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, man, they ripped," whether they watched them or not. It just, oh, it rules. Nobody wants to look like a boomer, and everyone likes to be on top of the next big thing. So in death metal nowadays, man, remember, everything rules, and critical thinking is just being a hater. I mean, go to a death metal show and tell someone younger than 35 that you don't care about a new band, just any new band, and you'll get that confused, angry look, like, "Oh, you don't think Undergang is better than Incantation?" And it's like, nah, man, I don't. But I mean, I like Undergang, but they're just not better. Anyway, man, I was giving the interview a chance because most of J Dog's videos are pretty entertaining. Most metal YouTubers like try so hard to be nice and friendly, and they say, in my opinion, like 200, 300 times. So J-Dog is refreshing in the sense that he'll just say some shit sucks and like just not care. So at first, man, I saw the two kids in Fluids and I thought, man, these are the oldest looking 21-year-olds I've ever seen. And then they started talking, and these fuckers are 31 years old, man, which is, I guess, fitting because the kid to the right of J-Dog, who inspired this video, he actually kind of resembles Hans Moleman, who's also 31 years old. But anyway, man, I kind of wish J Dog had like kind of took a crap on these kids a little more, man, because the Hans Moleman kid said that the first two Death albums are thrash. So Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy, kind of a ludicrous assertion. Now, if he had applied some like logical consistency to that opinion, I could see it being justified. But then he turns around and parrots the whole seven churches started death metal thing, and he cites Uncle Ken as his source for that, his historical source, referring, of course, to Ken's Death Metal Crypt, which, by the way, man, great channel. I love Ken's channel. You can find a lot of good obscure death metal in there, but man, I don't need that guy to tell me what is and isn't fucking death metal. Anyway, J-Dog starts kind of going back and forth with this kid, and the Fluids Mole Man guy reveals that he doesn't even know which record came first, Seven Churches or Scream Bloody Gore. Crazy, man. So, and if Seven Churches is death metal and Scream Bloody Gore is thrash, I mean, what's this kid fucking smoking, man? Personally, I feel like he's just trying to have a hot take, like, not to sound like a boomer or whatever, but like younger people, they love hot takes, and they get all their opinions from like snappy Twitter comments and shit. So that's why if you join a death metal group on Facebook, you're gonna have to deal with these people saying stupid shit. I mean, the whole conversation between J-Dog and these Fluids kids, man, you can just tell that they were probably into like deathcore, hardcore, emo, something stupid. And then they started seeing like Mortician memes and Return to Monkey memes all over Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, this is a good market for us, man. This is really easier. It's even easier than fucking playing Stoner Doom, even fucking easier." Trust me, man, it's like this up in Ohio too. Not naming names, but I personally know a death metal band up there made up of like scene kids who kind of overnight got into Mortician in 2020. And no, it's not 200 Stab Wounds or Sanguisugabog. I've never met those guys. But I do have reason to believe that 200 Stab Wounds and Sanguisugabog are industry plants, possibly propped up by Quincy Jones, because I can't find any other way to explain their level of exposure, man. Anyway, back to the actual topic. So, like, if Scream Bloody Gore and Leprosy are thrash metal albums, then I guess you'd have to say Massacre from Beyond is thrash. You'd have to say the first two Cancer albums are thrash. You'd have to say First Necrophagia is thrash. Really, you'd have to say Seven Churches is thrash, So goofy ass proposition all around, man. I mean, really, if Scream Bloody Gore is thrash, that means Atheist Piece of Time would also be thrash, man. So where does it end? Although, here's my own young person hot take, man. I actually think Sepultura Morbid Visions is heavier and just kind of more all-out vicious than any of the records I just named, man. Not speaking solely on quality, but just like the heaviness and brutality of it. And not many people younger than 50 would say that Morbid Visions is a death metal record. Obviously you take a look at like an old interview or an old fanzine or something, and you would see people like people who were teenagers in the 80s calling it death metal, and then it kind of got reclassified as like more black thrash over the years, you know. But hell, man, I think it's more brutal than Seven Churches and Scream Bloody Gore. So, I mean, when it comes to early death metal or early extreme metal in general, man, you get a lot of like cross pollination or whatever the fucking word would be. Like, until things become a bit more like militantly defined by like 89, 90. I mean, even in 90, 91, 92, man, a lot of death metal is still kind of rooted in thrash, man, like Ripping Corpse, Malevolent Creation. First Deicide has a lot of like thrashy elements as well, but you also had stuff like Dismember, Suffocation, you know, bands where it's like, okay, so this is something entirely different, you know, kind of leaving behind those thrash roots a bit. So yeah, man, it's an interesting topic for metal nerds, I suppose. What do you guys think, man? Do you guys think Death are secretly a thrash band? Talking about their first two albums, by the way. I'm not saying that Sound of Perseverance is like death metal or anything. I'm specifically talking about the first two records, man. But and I mean, hell, man, if all the 80s death metal is actually thrash, you know, where does it begin? What do you think's the first death metal record, you know? And, you know, I'm going to say you can't say, like, if you couldn't say Seven Churches or Scream Bloody Gore, what do you think is the first death metal record? Based on, you know, if we exclude those two, just for, you know, hypothetical, whatever the fuck, man. And then last question, why isn't Morbid Visions ever in the conversation, man? Do you guys think the Kids and Fluids have heard Morbid Visions? I don't know. I don't know if they've heard it. They kind of seem like more roots type of guys, you know. Who knows? Anyway, man, the genre debate never gets old. It's a source of endless entertainment. You know, we could all talk about. We should just not go to work today and just talk about what is and isn't death metal. You know, because I could really just. Actually, yeah, I'm going to call my boss right now and just be like, I'm not coming in, man. I'm talking death metal all day. Because, you know, it's fun, man. If you're a nerd, you're into this shit. Never really gets old, you know. So, yeah, man, leave us a comment, subscribe, all that shit, man. Thanks, man.